Madam Minister, Mrs. Margaret Ricardo, I'm going I'm going to begin referring to the
The consultation process, and which has been very fundamental, not only related to what we are currently living and the consultations may carried out within the different sectors and amongst the different mechanisms, but also the consultations that was begun in February of this year in Geneva with the civil society actors and players, in which in some way did reinforce the commitments of their commitment. At this level, I would like to highlight two important aspects that I believe are fundamental as a product of these or sub byproducts of these consultations, in which somehow uh, have been part of the uh, become part of the could and have influenced the statement of Guayaquil, the Declaration of Guayaquil. One is the one related to the voices. The consultations have not only been made in terms of formal actors or the governments and institutions, but also the civil society that somehow has consulted the population, the communities. By consulting with them, it is important to highlight and support and congratulate the initiative of the voices of the children organization, and also the frontline people who are, and the mechanisms that have allowed the participation of women. And this has been the role of the civil society needs to be highlighted, because it helps us to hear the voices of the people and the communities, and especially those that are more vulnerable. Secondly, I'd like to highlight another mechanism that I feel was very relevant, and it refers to a document that somehow we have already circulated and you have already been able to, I hope all of you have already accessed. And this is a consultation that we've made amongst institutions of the civil society of Latin America. And this is a consultation that we realize right now involves 170 organizations, private institutions, and civil society in general. And they have expressed several viewpoints with respect to this platform, regional platform. Many of these points of view, and I would like to highlight and congratulate everyone, because they have been incorporated in a very transparent way and in a dialogue by the committee that drafted the Declaration of Guayaquil. I would like to highlight in that respect some of the aspects that we believe are very important and central. And the first one is for us to put the community at center stage to strengthen its resilience. Secondly, to ensure that the assessment and knowledge of risks and uh, be have the causes that actually determine insecure conditions as poverty and environmental degradation, amongst others. And thirdly, to highlight, and this is part of the commitment that we'd like to voice here, which is to highlight underscore the importance of the educational proposals in the community and universities and schools that highlight values and citizen responsibility, and to institute and strengthen mechanisms for participation of the networks of the civil society, companies, universities, organizations, and institutions to contribute on local, regional, and national levels in this effort of reducing risk. We also would like to highlight the importance of uh, for furthering the strengthening of the life means and working with communication media in the policies and also helping forge agreements to facilitate communication between the different organizations. I wanted to express that we are as a civil society also in a process of consultations, which means because we're going to express our commitments, but in fact I'd like to show some of the advances. One of those is related to voices. We want to continue being a mechanism that supports voices of the people, population, communities that are the most vulnerable, the children and women. We also expect, as part of our commitment, we intend to continue to play an important role strengthening the civil society participation in with respect to the support that we also have to offer our local governments, regional governments, and national governments in the risk management. And we also would like to commit to exercise their citizen rights to surveillance and to uh, audit as in a social way audit all these policies for risk management. And as I had already said, our commitment is also to participate in the processes that have to do with education and also the mechanisms to protect the livelihood of the most vulnerable communities. And so thank you very much. Thank you, Pedro, your representative of the civil society. And last but not least, perhaps even the most important part, is the representative of the children and the youths and the adolescents, Ruth Custode. Good afternoon, and thank you very much. In the first place, this strategy, thank you to the strategy and Madam Minister to allow for allowing us for the first time an active participation of children, girls, boys, youth and adolescents. 59 students were participating in the thematic session, showing that youths are not only capable of being exhibited but also to participate and being and in getting involved with. I want to thank this opportunity to listen to the 58 children who were here representing over 18,000 children of our region. Thank you also for the inclusion for the first time in so many articles and articles of the Declaration 914, 20, 28, 33, 35 of the themes that are prioritary for our children and young and youths. I would like to highlight that our item 14 supports the demands made by the group of children and adolescents who were here at the thematic session 1, and also would like to emphasize on two of the main demands, and I'm going to read it as they suggest, to for their rights to be recognized in an active participation in decision making where they can be informed and they can be heard and they can also organize to achieve and to attain a more resilient society. For them, for plans to be developed for promoting health, security, and safety and protection, addressed geared towards youths and including disabled young and children and boys and girls to reduce their vulnerability of the vis-a-vis the uh, social risks, human trafficking, gangs, this sexual abuse, mistreatment, etc. we demand that the rights of the boys and girls and adolescents and youth to be ensured in this commitment and the scope of the commitment, and all the organizations where we work, we hope that they will ensure the compliance, promotion, and guarantee of the rights of children in Latin America and the Caribbean. And we commit to the following: to contribute to the strengthening and development of programs for DRR, adaptation to climate change, and sustainability focused on boys, girls, adolescents, and youth, as well as creating synergies amongst them, and also to promote strengthening of active participation areas and spaces in decision-making processes for everything related to disasters and sustainable development, to make visible the impact of disasters in boys, girls, adolescents, and youth, and to and insist before governments to develop policies to promote a culture of resilience and environmental care, and to promote monitoring, evaluation, and accountability processes that will enable the children to demonstrate that the children have participated and that they have benefited from the policies and practices for risk management, and to promote the global initiative the amongst the countries of the region to strengthen the regional spaces, national and regional spaces for exchanging experiences and good practices on risk management that are focused on boys, girls, adolescents, and youth, and to strengthen implementation of plans and projects for promoting health, security, safety, and protection addressed to boys, girls, adolescents, and youths, including the ones with disabilities, in order to reduce vulnerabilities of the social risks, and finally to promote amongst the humanitarian actors that in their actions to preparing responses that they consider the needs of the boys, girls, adolescents, and youth in protection of of youth, of health and other risks and matters affecting them. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this statement made by a representative of the young. And before concluding with this session, I would like to invite Minister Cornejo to share with us her reactions about these very important statements and commitments that have been made here. Thank you very much. First of all, I would like all of the representatives that have issued statements that we have listened attentively to all of your commitments and what that implies for us as a government. Please be sure, especially on issues that have to do with children, that we will take into consideration your requirements and that we are working towards achieving inclusion of children and youngsters in this issue, because a lot of the time during situations of emergencies or disasters, we think of human beings, of people as numbers, as statistics, as well as of the children, and we forget that they require special attention. So this is a commitment, at least from Ecuador, to promote that this is included in our national agenda, as we have done, and also through the other intergovernmental organizations we will be doing so. Thank you. And my commitment, the commitment of our office, is to continue with this work of having the social and professional groups very much involved in such an important process. And this process of commitments is something that, as you will well know, will be included in the final conclusions of the global conference next year, because that was the decision of the General Assembly of the United Nations, that the importance of this topic to work as a society as a whole requires the work of mobilization of all of the groups of society. So I would also like to thank all of you for the work that you have carried out in this meeting of the fourth regional platform of the Americas, but also because of your daily efforts, and not only preparing your participation in this conference, but also for your participation in the global conference next year. I would also like to thank the advisory committee who have put together this communique, and the editorial committee that worked on its edition. To conclude, just a final commitment today, and it is a commitment I would like to invite a representative of the Colombian Federation of Municipalities, a representative of the National Unit of Disaster Risk Management from Colombia, a representative of the executive, the management department of the Presidency of the Republic of Colombia, and a representative from the UN Office for Disaster Reduction. I would like to invite you to come here to please sign a framework of collaboration between the three institutions to promote My City is Getting Prepared within the campaign Developing Resilient Cities. I would like to take advantage of the presence today of the representative for the UN and head of organization so that she can sign also as a witness of honor and endorse this agreement. I believe that this is an example of this three-way collaboration that's included in your communique. Now with this final commitment, we are going to close this part of our work. Your communique has been endorsed. We have received the declarations, and now we are going to continue with the country's statement.
Bueno, vamos a continuar ahora con Haití, por favor.
Very well, we will continue with Haiti. We have 5 minutes, please, for the country's statements. Our friend with the flags, if you could come over, thank you. Señora Ministra María del Pilar Cornejo, Señora representante especial de la Secretaría General de las Naciones Unidas para la reducción del riesgo de desastres, señor Ricardo Mena, que ya no está, pero queridos amigos de la Oficina Nacional para la Reducción de Riesgo de Desastres en las Américas, representantes de países, representantes de la cooperación internacional, damas y caballeros, representantes de la sociedad civil, distinguidos invitados, damas y caballeros. Yo quisiera I would like to thank all of the ministers for your presence today and for your work to the reduction of disaster risk. I would also like to thank for the quality of organization of this event. As you all know, there are some countries that are extremely vulnerable to disasters, and I don't think it is necessary to remind you here the impact on the Haitian population of this, as well as on our economy. The capacity of our country has been reduced and our vulnerabilities were put into evidence. And it is extremely important to note that climate change exacerbates or increases the exposition of the country to disasters, and thus disaster risk management is a priority for the governments and for the development of the countries. The President of the Republic himself, during the third summit in Mexico in the last meeting of OECD, has underlined the fact that it is a priority for his government to reduce the risk of catastrophes. The government is engaged in this activity. Our vision is to be able to work with our allies, to understand with each individual, with each community, and with each a city, so that every suitable behavior is adapted and we reduce our vulnerabilities. Our vision is focused on the fact that the population and Haitians institutions will be more resistant and better prepared for climate change-caused disasters. After the adoption of the Hyogo framework of action, significant progresses have already been achieved on this issue, not only in understanding of risks, the preparation, also awareness building in the public and institutional collaboration. The government, with its international partners, has started a program to work with the population that was affected by the earthquake of 2006, and thus we have improved considerably the problems of security, safety, and the conditions of life of our population, particularly that population living in vulnerable areas. We must underline the building and equipment of the operations with the support of the American government. Before 2005, we did not have a center of operations for risk management. The management for refugees and sensitive areas was carried out. The work with refugees and vulnerable areas. The government has carried out scientific and technical coordination in the national system, and this has been put into place. Microzoning and assessment of buildings has also been carried out in the 3 departments of the country. Actions and communications have all been carried out. Ladies and gentlemen, today is the last the last time that we will get together and meet under the first part of the Hyogo framework of action, and I would like to say that we have worked a lot and we need more financial and technical support to reduce the risk of disasters. We have used a lot of the aid in Haiti, and the results are evident. Today, we are embarking on a new framework of action for disaster risk reduction. In 2013 in Geneva, we received some guidelines regarding the orientations for the new framework of action, and the focus was on resilience and climate change impacts, which are every day more visible. And that is why we would like to encourage everyone to adopt an integrated position of risk that will resemble what we have received for the catastrophe, for the risk of catastrophes, for planning, and of course to achieve resilience it has to be included in our development plans. We have also underlined that we will not be able to make progress on risk reduction without a massive investment on this developing a risk culture. And this, of course, I believe also requires the understanding of our allies. We would like also that in the region a group of experts will be placed to the disposition to work on this specific topic and also on urban and seismic risks. The Haitian government has its national system of risk management and risk and disaster management, and I can assure you that Haiti will continue to be a stakeholder and an actor in the promotion of activities to put into practice the future framework of action against for risk reduction, disaster risk reduction. Thank you very much.